Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of From the Dog's Mouth. Tonight, I am your host, your boy Kendrick Vivians, Coach V, Fat, Kate Ville, Kid Cornelius, whatever you want to call me. I'm your host tonight, and we are joined with a very, very special guest, very special friend of mine. I've been knowing this cat since 1995. Yes, when he was a tall, slinky white boy coming to play baseball for the Morris Point High School team. I met him a long time ago, and it's great to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all make some noise for Robbie's little brother, Kevin Fant. Woo!
Robin's little brother. How you doing like that?
All right, Kev. So it's great to have you, man. Before we get started, we're gonna go around and let all the hosts introduce themselves. We're gonna start off. I'm just gonna go by my screen. I'm gonna start from left to right on my screen, and one of the a couple of them on here are very, very good at this podcast journalism thing, and it's one of those guys. His name is Jeremiah Short.
Hey, what's happening?
How's it going?
What's up?
Oh, that was short. Okay, Jeremiah. Okay. Mr. Derek Thomas is also a vet in this game. Derek Thomas, say what's up.
What's going on, Mr. Fant? Man, I watched you play Bulldog football when I was young. Well, we were around the same age, so, man, it's an honor to have you on here,
You trying to say when I was young? Fat already called me old the other day now. Now he trying to make me feel older.
Well, I guess you could say I was in college with you, so.
You ain't that much younger.
All right, now, Ricardo, you're on mute, man. I hope you're here with us. I see that you're on mute. Go
Yes,
ahead,
sir.
Ricardo.
How's it going, Mr. Fan? What I heard they call you with the Mississippi Dream, Kevin Fan. That we hear about you in high school.
Somebody done
'Cause
lied
I'm with the
to you.
Cosesco. That's all I'm telling you, man. Like that's all I used to hear about it in high school. That that name stuck out. You know what I'm saying? When I was in high school, you and Omar Connor, them about the two best quarterbacks that was during my time when I was in high school. All was around the same age, so.
I don't know. Shannon had some ballers back then.
So since Kevin wanted to wear his Van Cleef hat, I'm gonna overload him today a little bit. I told Kevin, I don't do it small, son. You know this. I'm gonna overload
Don't
you
tell
today,
me you bringing that. You can't fit in that still.
I'm gonna overload you today, brother. All right, here we go. Kevin, go ahead and say what's up to everybody and give us an opening statement or whatever, and just tell us what's happening with you.
Kevin Fant, going into my 16th year of teaching and coaching. I've been around Jackson County, several places. Started off at Moss Point. Coach Alexander gave me an opportunity after college, and took my first gig as a head coach at Van Cleef this past year. And
Congratulations
I'm just loving life and blessed, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. And like I said, everybody, Kevin Fant was he was my quarterback. He was my third baseman at one point, and he was my left fielder at one point. So that's my guy. And we're just gonna dive into the interview. And speaking of being my quarterback, most time we start the interview by just trying to dive into how was your recruiting process. Kevin guys won state championship as a 10th grader, as an 11th grader, and made it to the second round of playoffs in his 12th grade year, beat by and future teammate Justin Jenkins. So Kevin, just tell us, who was knocking at your door, man, in high school for football, and how did you end up choosing Mississippi State?
I was blessed. Kind of like I tell our athletes today, everybody wants to feel wanted. I had a young player, somebody today asked me about a college showing interest, and I told him, I said, man, everybody wants to feel wanted. That's a great feeling. And like I said, when I was in college, I was blessed. I had pretty much everybody in the Southeastern Conference, the West, especially the West side, want me. I didn't get an offer from Alabama, but just looking at it, there's several different places. I love the recruiter at at Auburn and LSU, they were close, and I loved them. And Moss Point had like a little channel going to LSU for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, right when I was coming out, you had Mississippi was getting a bad name for losing all their athletes, and there were several articles about people just leaving the state. And I love Mississippi, and I kind of made a decision I was going to stay in the state.
So out of those two, so staying in the state, you got 3 big schools in the state. So what makes you choose the Bulldogs?
3. Okay.
Hey man, you still gotta put them on there too, man.
Tuberville was at Ole Miss when I was getting recruited, and Noel Mazzoni was offensive coordinator, and I loved him. I mean, I really fell in love with him when I went to a camp, and he had me thinking Ole Miss when I really wasn't really an Ole Miss material guy. I mean, I was a laid-back Mississippi State guy, but I loved Noel Mazzoni at Ole Miss for some reason. But then Tuberville turned around, left, and went to Auburn. I guess they offered him big money in that year, and he went to Auburn, and it was, a no-doubter. Now, I always lean Mississippi State, but I will give props to Noel Mazzoni. He sure had me thinking Ole Miss because I really fell in love with him, especially as a recruiter and how he treated me.
Oh, no doubt. And I didn't know, I wasn't a big SEC guy in high school, but I did see a lot of Mississippi State stuff, but I never really paid it attention. So, it's a lot of Bulldogs down in Moss Point.
Oh, yeah. Well, my best boy, Nick D'Angelo, his dad, and then another friend of mine, the Chad Wells, their dad were Mississippi State guys. And not that they leaned me that way by no means, because to be honest with you, neither one of them even mentioned or even tried to encourage me to go to state. They wanted me to make my own decision, and I really appreciated that. But, I saw Mississippi State and them, and I definitely seen how much they loved the campus and loved the atmosphere, and I got up there and I felt the same way.
Absolutely.
So
go ahead, Jeremiah.
No, I guess the question I had, were you a little nervous as a guy? You was more of a pocket passer and being able to throw that thing around. So were you a little nervous about Mississippi State? Because State, even to this day, hasn't ever been known for being a throwing school. Were you a little nervous about that coming to State?
Not really. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know if Fat remembers this. I really hated the quarterback position when I was younger. I didn't really throw it, but about maybe 12, 15 times a game in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But we had some great running backs at that time at Moss Point too. And I think I got known for being, I guess, more of a hard-nosed quarterback, that the winner, and I was more of a game manager. I checked off the line of scrimmage a lot, and Coach Lee allowed me to do so. And I think that's what they mainly seen in me. But, when it comes to throwing and stuff like that, I got to give props to Coach Lee, because Nick and them didn't even let me play yard school quarterback. I couldn't get in the yard and play quarterback, so I couldn't even throw a spiral when I was young. And I ended up being an SEC quarterback. So there you go, Nick D'Angelo. That's what treat me wrong all the time. We was
Nick, he name dropping over here. Nick D'Angelo is my quarterback, my classmate. He was Kevin's backup quarterback in high school. He was also our catcher on the baseball team. And Nick went on to play college ball, and he ended up playing with Mississippi State. What he played for 1 year when y'all Peach Bowl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. He was there that 1 year. Actually, I think he still got that jersey, because they gave us all a jersey when you go to a ball game. So he's been bleeding maroon since he was a baby.
Yeah.
I didn't have, my mom and dad didn't go to college. But he was fortunate enough, his dad, so he bled maroon since he was a little boy.
Oh yeah,
he loved it.
Now let me change lanes a little bit.
I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I'm sorry. I didn't even finish answer your question.
Go ahead, answer his question.
Oh no, you answered it. I mean, you kind of was talking about it was more of a game manager. It wasn't that big of a deal. So I mean, that's
go ahead. All right then.
Encapsulate. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me say this. I mean, people probably don't know this, Kevin, and you probably don't know that. I don't think I've ever told you this, but I liked you 10 times better as a baseball player, because like the game, you look like a grown man, like they say, like LeBron and all. You look like a grown man out there with us. Kevin came in as a 9th grader, starting on the varsity team, y'all, as a third baseman on the hot spot. And just growing up, just seeing him grow, it was like he was out there having fun. Everybody else was like dead serious. Like, I gotta hit this ball. He was up there playing around with the stick in the batter's box. He probably don't even remember it. He was like, dude, what is Kevin doing? And he just stroked it. You like, dude, this dude is amazing. Did you have anybody recruiting you in baseball? Because, like I said, he was a third baseman, and then all of a sudden we look up the next year. We had Kyle Miller coming in, who ran about a 7.4 40. So they put him on third base, and they put Kevin in outfield. Like, hey, you go out there and you throw people out and all this kind of stuff. So Kevin became an outfielder all of a sudden, gunning it from outfield. He was like all around. Did anybody recruit you at baseball? Was that ever a thought of going to school to play baseball?
Well, you want me to make a long or a short story out of it?
Man, no, man, we got plenty of time. Go ahead.
Well, I loved baseball growing up. My mom was a big sports guy, and I didn't play quarterback till 10th grade. I was always a lineman. I was a physical guy. I got big early, so that helped me. I was one of them guys that matured early, so I stood out. When I got to 9th grade and I got that opportunity, you said I was relaxing stuff up there, but it's kind of like I want to say I heard Denzel Washington say it. You don't get nowhere by yourself. People say I'm self-made. That's bull crap. There's somebody got you where you're at. And, you said I was relaxed. But, I had people like you that was carrying on in the dugout singing Susie Q. And I'll never forget my freshman year. Who calmed me down the most at third base was Jonah Mack when he was on the mound.
Yeah.
And Jonah Mack be over there winking at me and just relaxed me. So, a lot of the reason why I was relaxed and was able to play really good baseball at a younger age was because of the older guys on the team. I put a lot of stock in that. You're a freshman, you're out there with all them older guys. That's what I needed, and I really appreciate that. But, yeah, I had some opportunities. I think, I was fortunate enough to play on some great teams, 96, 97. I think everybody kind of seen my ticket was football. Excuse me. I had several junior college coaches telling me, hey, if you'd rather play baseball, we got an offer here for you. But, my parents didn't have the money to pay for college. It was either I was going to get student loans and so I'm not turning bird in the hand's better than two in the bush.
Right.
And I got 4 years of school paid for, so yeah, I'm taking it. And I love my baseball career. I love baseball, and I preach to my guys to this day. I preach multiple sports, man. Play them while you can. The only thing I regret is I didn't stick with basketball too. That's why I tell them, play. Hey, look, when you get old like me, you can't play no more. You might get over there and play church softball, but
Yeah.
you can't put it on no more.
Hey, don't preach that basketball. You probably remember Mike. Was that Jason got hurt? Y'all was out there hooping one time during baseball season. I think
It might have
Jason
been.
Leonard. I think it was Jason. He got hurt. Y'all was hooping, and coach let him have it. But so let's slide on up to Starkville, Mississippi. Freshman on campus. But was the transition easy, man, coming from Moss Point? Because in those days, Moss Point was, it was Mississippi high school football. And again, you from 10th grade, well, let's say from 9th grade, you were in the spotlight. That's with baseball. Then in 10th grade, you were the guy to lead the team in football. So playing in front of all those people in the state championship as a 10th grader, as an 11th grader. Yeah, it's way more people, but does that prepare you for the big stage of the SEC, or was it like, whoa?
Man, we played in front of some big crowds, and that for high school ball when Blunt come over there to play us, and there's people sitting on top of the concession stand, the buildings, and packing out. And we played South Panola all them years. That was like huge high school football. I'll never forget after we beat South Panola twice, and then turned around my senior year, we went and played them the first game of the year that year. That was huge crowds. But you can say, yeah, that did help me because that's big time football, and you playing against South Panola. They had some college looking kids when they were in 10th grade. They looked like they was in college back then.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget one of the hardest hits I've taken to this day was from I can't even remember his first name. I want to say his last name was Bradford. He ended up playing at Vanderbilt, I think.
I got you.
Linebacker. I couldn't breathe
I
right.
saw an interview with Jesse. JM was on another show not last week or 2 weeks ago, and he said the same. He said, "Dude, I don't care. They talk about all these other people, but that Bradford kid, he said the same thing."
Man, I couldn't breathe right for a month when he hit me. I'm serious. Look, I promise you, I got a crack in my sternum today. I can still feel it. I'm pretty sure it was him. Did that.
Wow.
If I had my top 10 hits of all time, college included, now I've been hit a good bit.
Yeah.
He was one of them top 10 on that play. I'm serious.
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
breathe right for a month.
Wow.
But that prepared me. That prepared me. But I don't care what nobody says. Tennessee wasn't the Tennessee that when like Peyton was there, but when you go in Tennessee, 15,000 fans in high school, that's big. When you go and you look up and there's 100,000, that's a different story. And that's an experience. So I don't care what nobody says, especially when you go to state and they get all them cowbells ringing. That's you can't prepare for that. You really can't. Hopefully, some kids are thrown to the wolves the true freshman year and they thrown to the wolves right off the bat. I got the red shirt and I got to go experience that on the sideline. Because when we went to South Carolina, I'll never forget. I think it was, I want to say, was it the game after the 9/11? I'm not sure.
That was a home game after 9/11. That was a home game.
It was in South Carolina.
I'm saying, but the 9/11 game, because that was your red shirt freshman year, because I was bullied that year.
I know whatever year we was at South Carolina.
Okay.
They threw a touchdown at the end of the game in the corner to beat us.
I saw that game, yes.
And on the sideline, I felt like my chest was hurting. And I looked at the doctor who was standing right beside me and said, "Son, you okay?" I said, "Son, you okay?" That's the ground shaking.
You fine, son.
You fine, son. That's the ground shaking. Because that place erupted because we was winning all game. I mean, we was doing great. And then we knocked out their starting quarterback. And I'm sitting on the sideline thinking, "Oh, we got this in the bag." And the backup comes in there, didn't even get to warm up, throws one in the corner end zone, beats us. And, man, that place erupted.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say completely you can get ready for that type stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just glad.
The game, you were okay. That was your red shirt freshman year. Your sophomore year was the 9/11 game. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Because like I said, that's the year I was bullied. I was bullied the second year there, and my first year there, you were a red shirt freshman. Yeah, so
because
you had already red shirted already.
That was a big game because I think we was the first televised game, if I remember right.
Yeah, that 9/11 game was, yes.
That was a big game.
And the game in South Carolina that you're talking about, that was a huge game because we were like we were good. We were really good. And South Carolina, we was like, what? We lost? And I remember it because they were picking on one side of the ball. And that's what they were doing. And not to call out any of your teammates, but they was picking on one side. And they found that groove, and they was like, "You know what? Just throw it over there. Don't throw it to this side. Throw it on that side."
Well, I know that one they beat us on. I'll give him this. It was great coverage, but I was amazed the backup quarterback barely even got to warm up and just put it on the.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to answer your question, man, I love my time at Moss Point. It was a lot different than I've seen some kids come from at State that came from like really, really small private schools, and not to knock private schools, but that was definitely a bigger adjustment for them.
Yeah.
What I saw.
Well, here's the thing. I skipped over something, and you made me remember it. Your senior year. I think this is the game that just sold Kevin Fant. First game of the season. I was there, freshman in college. I came to South Panola. I was at Russ College. I came down, and you guys were losing. Was it Rashad? Pickens, whatever his name is.
It looked like 28-0, if I remember right.
Yeah, he returns the kick after halftime, and all of a sudden a broken leg Kevin Fant is just running all over the field. Dude, can you put us in that game? I'm gonna let y'all just tell y'all what it was. South Panola's winning the game. It's like, oh my God, stands are packed in South Panola. Kevin Fant is limping pretty much it seemed like the whole game, but he's limping. And then we found out later that your leg was fractured or something.
No, I had a torn MCL, partially strained ACL, and meniscus tear in my meniscus. They hit me early in the first half, and it just, once my adrenaline got flowing, like you said, second half it was hard to get started, but what's that mentality that goes in, and I was fine. I was hurting afterwards, but my adrenaline started flowing. I kind of battled through it.
Yeah, you missed a few games after that, right?
I missed, I think, 3.5 games after that, maybe 4.
Yeah. And see, like I said, it wasn't a big, of course, no such thing as social media or Facebook back then. So we were just hearing. That's why I was like, you were fractured or something, because, I was 6 hours away from Mars Point, and I heard, well, his leg was broke. That's what they said. There ain't no fracture. His leg was broke while he was out there running. But you broke one. And that was like my play. You broke a long run. I don't remember if you scored or not, Bill. And you weren't even running. It was like you were hobbling the whole time. And like I said, I remember stuff like that. You played.
I know what you're talking about, because I remember that long run. It wasn't the hobbling part. Is when I was trying to running, I was fine, but when I couldn't put the brakes on, because I guess that meniscus tear. Couldn't put the brakes on. And now on that same play, if it's the same play I'm talking about, because I couldn't put the brakes on, I got about knocked out the game because my head was
dang.
But that was, I think that you said that was the game, I think, maybe, and I don't like to never say my performance, because everybody, like I said, I'm not a self-made man, but I think sold some people in the north part of the state that I could play.
That you can play this game, yes.
But see, that game was impressive, because, I always go back to that game because, see, me and Jesse and Marcus, we were the younger sophomore group that got the opportunity to play with some older great players. And when we were seniors, we played with a lot of sophomores that year. Like I think we say we made it to the second round. But that was that mentality as coaches you talking about, winning mentality. You got that winning mentality. We expected to win.
Absolutely.
And we expected it. Not because, we just won 2 state championships. South Panola was definitely, looking back on it, the more dominant team, how young we was. But we knew we were supposed to win. And you had some young guys that just believed we were supposed to. Like Sherrod Pickens as a 10th grader. You had a lot of young kids that performed. We came back. I think Willie Chastain caught a touchdown, if I remember right. I think he was a sophomore, if I remember.
Willie, yeah. Poobie?
Yeah.
Poobie was a year under you. Poobie was 2000.
Yeah, he caught one. There's some young guys on that team. I think Tremaine Moore was a sophomore that year. That group that was sophomores that year at Moss Point, a lot of them got playing time. That was same year as Bilbo too. And when they took over as seniors, they won it again. They
were dominant. They were one of the better teams come through Moss Point.
Yeah.
Maris Bilbo went to Moss Point?
Who? You said Maris Bilbo?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What?
Yes. That was a while ago. We can get
through born and raised, man. It run through him. He's Moss Point.
I know that was like, how did he not end up at quarterback? I just saw some list not too long ago that was talking.
That's a long story. When we do our other segment, I'll try to get him on. We're gonna do some more things.
He grew up right down the street from me, and he was always not just a great football player, but a great person.
Yeah.
And man, I always enjoyed being around him, and man, he turned out to be not only a great talent, but he turned out to be a very successful person.
He's like an agent now or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
John Armstead is watching, man. Say what's up.
Hey, what's up, John? I'm the true number 16, John.
John Armstead is.
I'm playing with it because he was number 16 right before I got there.
Yeah. I did have a question kind of to take those people, I guess, that don't know Mississippi football. And to those that don't know, South Panola and Mississippi football is like, I guess you think of Hoover and Alabama and even some of those. I live here in Texas, so there's a lot of those schools here. But kind of take people into like what it's really like to go against Sapanola, who most in Mississippi, or they used to call them USP, really, because they were in the midst of that dominant run when y'all beat them. So just take people into like playing Sapanola around that time, what it was like to play them.
Well, people don't realize too, Sapanola was good before that time started. Like, you know, we beat them twice, and then they turned around and won it the next year, my senior year. But they had went, you know, somebody said when they started that streak, which was when I guess we were in college, is when they really started the streak. But like, you know, yeah, we beat, but see, people don't give them respect. Yeah, we beat them twice in a row, but they made it to the dance. So that dominance has been before that streak started. You know, they were a great football team, and I think not only was they just God blessed with talent. I mean, I actually visited there a couple of times when I had some coaches, the coach friends there. Man, they work hard, and they reminded me of the old, you know, what I came from in Moss Point. I thought, man, you know, sometimes you look at schools and go, man, they just blessed with a lot of talent. Yeah, they were. But, man, I've watched them kids work. I stopped by there when I was in college a few times. Man, them kids busted their butt, and they deserved everything they got.
Yeah, I was just shocked. The thing I always was amazed by when I watched in high school, not high school, but in college, I was like, man, Sapanola's running midline option in 2005 and 2006. Derek McGee's running midline option. They still winning football. I'm like, how are they pulling this off in 2000?
But like you said, you're from the GTA. It's just like West Point. West Point is not about to do all this. I mean, they're not about to be tricky and all this kind of stuff. They work hard. They do what they do, and they do what they do well. And so that's just, you know, that's still a brand of football. You know, people are doing a lot of different things nowadays. You know, all this other stuff going on, but you know, a brand of football of what I'm stronger than you and I'm gonna hit you in your mouth. That's still a brand of football.
Well, get away. Football, like you just said, football goes in. You hear the old men talk about goes in circles. You know. Now you had when the 4 wide come out when we was younger, man. Then it trickled down to high school, and everybody's wanting to get. But then in the last I don't know, maybe 10 years, you see teams like Picayune, and in a few years I was East Central. Power football is coming back.
Yeah.
Especially in certain areas. And I ain't talking about all over the state, and it's never going to take over like the spread offense, but it's really helped some teams too, because you go from a division, say your division's predominantly throwing the ball, like Wayne County and them's division was several years ago, and then in the playoffs they got to face a Picayune that they ain't faced nobody physical like that all year.
Yeah,
that's kind of like being in a bowl game with Georgia Tech. If you ain't never faced the option, like that, that's a different experience.
Yeah.
Somebody just pounds the ball and runs that option. So I think when you're the odd person out, like, I'll give you a great example. I come from East Central. We ran like 3 plays, which I was on defense side of the ball then. Ran 3 plays on offense. Man, we couldn't run it down your throat. Had a lot of success. Actually got beaten state championship by a great team. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. 3 plays won on offense. Defense played physical, ran to the football. But you sitting there talking about physical football, that division, everybody ran the ball and pounded the ball, including Moss Point in that 4A division, except for St. Stanislaus.
Yep.
St. Stanislaus had an advantage because everybody else was, running the football. Well, then I come to head coach at Van Cleve, and everybody used to run the ball. And I'm going first day in there. We stopping the run. I'm getting excited, getting in their face. By God, we're going to run this football. We'll stop run. Then Moss Point throws it 300-something times. Stanislaus throws it 300. I think between 3 teams in our division, they had like 1,100 attempts. So I'm having to rethink my whole thing. So the whole division switched.
Yeah.
And so, I think it turns the table. You got the teams that coach believes in it, and he can establish that with his team, and the team believes in it. It don't matter if you run 2 plays. Kind of like what do you say on Remember the Titans?
It's like Novocaine.
That's like Novocaine.
Well, he said the dude said you can throw it a mile, but you can't pitch it 3 yards. But
say what?
You can throw it a mile, but you can't pitch it 3 yards.
That's right.
Well, he went to South Carolina, obviously. Though. That's the
Yeah, let's keep it moving. Let's go on slide back up, man. We need to see what Kevin Fant did when he was in maroon and white. Now, you first got the. Can you remember the first time they said Kevin go in? And it was significant minutes, like not your red shirt, and there was like, okay, we're up 30-0 against Memphis. Kevin go get some snaps, nothing like that. When it was like significant time, you like, what, me for real? Can you remember that one time that you were just like, okay, I get to go in the game now. It's like a big game, or it's like a significant minutes, not just pickup minutes.
I got two stories for you. I got to tell you the first one because
Hey, take your time. Let's hear it.
man, I'll never forget the first time I go in. I'm jacked up because I'm coming from Moss Point. We won. I'm coming in. Let's go. Wayne comes out. I'm going in. I'm so friggin' pumped. My adrenaline's through the roof. I'm running in there, and we huddle from 5 yards from the football with Sparky Wood. I come in there, and man, I was so jacked up. I'm yelling the play out. DeCenzo slaps me in the shoulder, says, "God dog, man, he's sitting right there. Don't tell him to play." So DeCenzo had to calm me down. I was so jacked up when I first got in the game, and he actually helped me settle down. And yeah, he was one of the guys I kind of related to because he was not only a really good football player, but he was a good person. He was good to the underclassmen. But my first real experience was actually Wayne got sick my redshirt freshman year, end of the year, and we ended up, I think it was raining that game, and it was Ole Miss. So it was a real high pressure situation for me to get a lot of minutes. I mean, that was tough because I'm not trying to knock on coach or anything, but I hardly ever got snaps with Michael Fair, and man, he could snap the piss out of that ball. And if you didn't get snaps with him on a regular basis, you wasn't gonna handle the snap. So I had a few fumble exchanges and got him on the sideline. And now I think I was proud of myself that first game, but I'll never forget too. We had I think we scored 30-something, but was it that year they had Deuce? Or the year before, I can't remember. They had
in Oxford.
I can't remember who all they had, but they ended up beating us. Well, I think we ended up scoring 30-something, but they ended up beating us. But man, I was excited and I enjoyed the mess out of it. But I'll never forget, Coach Sherrill. I'll tell you a little funny story. And I'm not no comedian by no means like you, but they got a touchdown on me, and that's probably I blame myself after the game because we was on like the 25-yard line. I go in. It was like a 3-step drop. I can't remember what the pass play was, but I go to throw, and the ball slips up out of my hand, and the defensive lineman, can't remember who, catches it and runs to the end zone. Man, I'm distraught. I'm going to the sideline going, my first big, time. I'm freaking going to get this game away. I get over there, Coach Sherrill grabs me up. Son, I can't. He was a little bit more adamant than that. I mean, he was really probably had a few choice words in there too. And he said, "Son, what happened?" I said, "Coach Sherrill, I ain't trying to make excuses, but that was a brand new football in the game." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Coach, man, I got small hands and I know what an Ole football. You know how when you first take a ball out of the bag, it's got an Ole film on it.
Slick, yeah.
Yes, and I got them small hands, and that ball was slick, and it came out, and sure enough, the managers hated me for a week because I said that because Coach Sherrill went over there and checked. Because it was raining, they broke out new balls.
They didn't deflate it first or nothing? No.
Well, Coach Sherrill went in there and started chewing some butt out because that was right before half. And that's when I got the idea that I still use today. I take a wire brush, and as soon as I break a new ball out, I'll scrape it off a little bit. They was in there halftime scraping them balls off, and they were looking at me with some disgust because they just
you threw the equipment team. You threw the equipment crew under the bus.
Oh man, they didn't like me. They didn't like me at all for about a week.
Man, Kevin a snitch.
All right. So we're gonna dive into first. All right. The first start, like when you first started, were you the guy already, or did you start while Wayne was there, or like or you started going into the season?
I
And
started the last 4 games of my sophomore year.
okay. Now
That was
now is that
Wayne's senior year.
right? And so with that, when do you remember when you found out it was like, yep, you're gonna be the starter, and like was Wayne hurt or something, or was it like a competition type thing, or do you remember that? And
I'm,
when they first said, hey, you're starting, how does that feel as a as a young quarterback, what, 19 years old maybe, and it was like, hey, you're about to start, dude. How does that feel?
I really took it with a grain of salt, man. I was that guy. I was your warrior type, man. Give me the ball. I guess you could say I was more of a Brett Favre mentality. I ain't scared to throw interception. I'm playing to win, and I'm not scared of what nobody's gonna think about me. Brett Favre was an attacker, and sometimes it made him look like the best there ever been, and sometimes he threw a lot of interceptions. But
Absolutely.
that was my mentality. So none of that stuff really bothered me. You tell me you starting, and you line me up, my old self today, and say I'm starting against Alabama tomorrow. Let's go.
Let's
I ain't
go.
scared. But that part didn't bother me. But I really enjoyed those 4 games my sophomore year, because when we had a really good group,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed the mess out of it. Because and then actually some of my best games of those last 4 games with that offensive group. I threw for like 350 against BYU, because that was the year BYU was supposed to play them at the first year, and ended up being at the end of the year. And that's when I threw for a lot of yards and had a good game against Eli at home and Ole Miss. So man, those 4 games probably some of my most memorable.
So kind of speak to that, I guess, taking over, because that was supposed to be a really strong year. State had a pretty good year that year before, and then I think DeCenzo had some injury issues. We can talk about Dante Walker and all that. I guess at that point, him as a player, but how's that kind of taking over late, knowing that it kind of was, the year didn't go the way everybody wanted it to go, and I don't know if the morale was low on the team. So kind of like, of course, when you get inserted, maybe the coach wants to kind of give that spark. So what was kind of your mindset going into that part of it, knowing that the team kind of probably been kind of down that year?
Well, my wife, I pick at her sometimes. I say I can't remember some of these things because of CTE, but I just pick at her. But I don't remember everything. But man, I'll tell you one thing. When I first got there, we had some dominant defense, man. Number 1 defense in the nation. Actually, that scout team year, I was a scout team quarterback my rest of the year. That was the year we had number 1 defense. So yeah, that was not really fun for me that year. But I enjoyed the mess out of it, because I thought I was a part of it. I thought I helped them every day. Right. You're talking about 2 rotating defensive lines. It's great. But then, I think, in my opinion, and my opinion ain't worth a grain of salt sometimes, but we was feeding off that defense for several years in a row, and I think sometimes you start leaning on something too much, and then when you don't have it, you can't go back. I remember I wanted the offensive coach to say at one time, just don't mess up. Like I remember him telling Wayne one time, just don't mess up. Defense gonna win it for us. And see, I couldn't stand that, and I hate to say that. It's been so many years now. I guess it's okay, but
it's fine.
I hated that mentality, because I'm going to win. I don't care what it is, but I think some of that fed off of it, and we had a lot of injuries too that sophomore. And the defense was still a good defense, but it wasn't the same. And like you said, injuries, they can tear down some morale, and football is not like other sports. There's so many moving parts in football, and then you add the mentality on top of it, man. That's tough, So I don't really have the answer. I know we had some bright spots, just like the BYU game that sophomore year. I had the best game I ever had. I think that's one of my top games. 350, 60 yards throwing. Justin Jenkins made some great catches, and we still get beat. I can't remember what we scored, 38. which at that time for state not being spread, 38 points was great for us.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and we still lost that game. So, I mean, but I'm not complaining. And to tell you the truth, it makes me think of what I just told a player the Wednesday. He said, Coach, I don't want to go there. I said, if they offer you, you better go there. And he said, man, I want to go to a really good football team. I said, son, that don't happen all the time. And I said, look, and I got beat up my last couple of years, especially one year pretty bad. And man, I played black and blue from my elbow down to my midsection several games. And that's not to lay blame on anybody, because we had a lot of injuries up front that one year. And man, you know, coming from Moss Point and always, I guess, being, Lord bless me, would be around some great people and great coaches, and I was blessed to have a lot of success. And then all of a sudden, God just, man, I think God works in mysterious ways sometimes. And he slapped me in the face. I was so stressed out, you know, one of them years. I mean, I was on that edge, I guess, of stress, what some people say. And looking back on it now, I think that helped me become a better coach at a younger age, because all I'd seen was the winning part of it. And then all of a sudden, God says, you fixing to experience the other side of this.
Yeah.
Man, it put me at a low point and made me realize, you know, sometimes you just got to point the finger at yourself. You know, in this world today, everybody wants to point, and, you know, I'm guilty too. You want to point at somebody else, like in the media back then. Kevin, your offensive line didn't block. You got beat up pretty bad this game. No, I was stressing myself out. What can I do to win? What do I got to do different to win? And man, it made me, when I went into coaching my first year, you know, some years in high school football, you don't get to go recruiting, which, I mean, some people might, but I don't get to go
South Panola.
But, you know, it made me realize some years when you don't have the talent you had before, you got to just dig. You got to find a way. You don't sit there and make excuses. You go be positive, man. We're going to find a different way to win, whether that's like we talked about earlier, running those two plays and playing physical football, or being like Moss Point or Reuben Lee and slinging the mess out of it. You got to work with what you got. And, you know, I look back on it and I'm blessed, I guess, for the low points in my life, because it helped me become a man earlier in my life.
Yeah,
So
you just touched on something. Me and Kevin and I met up in I think it was their second game. It was our first district game. And I don't think y'all ran probably about a handful of plays, but that running game was working, and he kept handing it to that boy. That boy was what, 10th grade?
Yeah.
They kept handing that kid, and we couldn't stop him, and they ended up beating us on our field for homecoming. So that's like he just mentioned, you know, sometimes you got to stick with what's working as a coach and not try to say, okay, I'm going to run what I do. No, dude. Yeah, this dude is killing us. They just kept feeding him, and he kept killing us. And so that just to touch on, you not just talking right now. You serious about what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's easy, even as a coach, to be selfish, because, you know, I've been around some coaches just want their name in the paper. You know, what have I done? Man, Bilbo, his name's Dayon Bilbo. He's a good talent, really is. Good kid too. And he thought I was playing because, you know, I watched film, and you know, not me, the offensive staff, and we come together and bumped our heads and said, look, this is what we're going in with. This is our backup plan, but this is, I went up to that kid earlier that week, and it's funny. I said, son, you know that old saying, we're going to ride that horse till he bucks us? Well, son, you got horse. And we finna ride you till you buck us, so you better get ready. He thought I was playing with him. After the game, he come up to me. He knew I wasn't playing then. He carried the ball. He took the load that game. Yeah,
y'all right. That Van Cleve game helped us change our entire defense. Thank you so very much, Kevin. We changed. We was like, you know what? Scrap this. We got to do something else. So, but yeah, we had to change up some things because Kevin put us in our place. I give him that 100%. Jeremiah, you itching to say something? Go ahead.
No, I kind of had a two-part question, kind of like,
go ahead,
because you're talking about how I made you a better coach. So I was kind of thinking, like, obviously, the team kind of went through some struggles like in your last couple of years. I guess that sophomore year, then those last 2 years as a starter, then now you're a coach. Do you kind of look at, and I guess the second part of the question about maybe not being as visible as some of the other QBs, you kind of look at things from a different eye now that you're a coach now, and then you kind of went through some years of struggles. So you kind of look at things from a different eye. I know we had Omar Connor on Tuesday, and he kind of talked about, we brought up Moorhead. You know, he's been heavily criticized. I mean, even if you're not one of the players that's always around, I'm sure you heard that criticism of Moorhead and how that went down. So do you kind of look at things with a different eye as opposed to some others who may criticize, you know, what's going on with the program and things like this?
Well, if what your question is what I look like at other people criticizing coaches, is that what you're trying to ask?
No, I'm saying, do you kind of look at it a little differently? Like you kind of, like the last couple of years, a lot of people probably felt like it really, of course, it wasn't necessarily your fault that the team was losing. It was just, the team just wasn't very good around that time. And then at the same time, you're a coach now, so of course you see it from that lens now. So do you look at it a little different than maybe some of the other former Bulldogs who, you know, not coaches and maybe were part of better eras of Mississippi State football?
I mean, I was a young kid there just trying to, we was playing with a lot of younger guys, and man, I put a lot of that pressure on me, you know. We had an incident with me and Coach Sherrill that, you know, I missed a couple practices because, you know, I come in there and got chewed out, but they changed some offensive staff, you know, that year too. And, you know, Morris Watts come in, and Morris Watts was a great offensive mind, man. I loved, but man, he expected receivers to learn the playbook like quarterbacks. So man, I'm in there. I spent my time in that playbook. Be honest with you, one player come in the huddle one time, told me what he had, and I said, nope, you ain't got that. You got this. And then I got in trouble for being past the 25-second clock in spring. And man, like I said, I stressed myself out so bad. So I put a lot of pressure on me. So people talking about me didn't bother me. What I make sure I tried not to do, because media don't do like they do in high school. They try to suck you into saying the wrong things. And, you know, they tried to make me blame it on somebody else. But, you know, I'm the leader of the team. I'm the quarterback. I got to take that on me. And, you know, I had some good people in my life tell me that. I tried to live by it. But, you know, a lot of people don't realize, too, is, you know, my mom and dad didn't play college ball or didn't know a lot about college ball. So my recruiting year when I went to state, you know, if I'd have been talking to myself, if myself back then was my son, I could have, you know, put some insight into it. You know, Mississippi State recruited, I think we was over half junior college my recruiting year.
Oh, yeah, it was a big,
tremendously helped us the first couple years.
Yeah.
But when I took over, junior year, we only had 4 scholarship players. Well, my senior year was 4 scholarship players and a walk-on that earned it. Because we had 2, Dante and Donald Lee didn't redshirt. That's how big the junior class was. Now, the junior college class tremendously helped. We had #1 defensive nation. You're talking about Fred Smoot, talking about Galladay. About that big group, man. Shoot, they helped us. Dorsett Davis was in my group, but they were junior college. And then when they took over, man, when I first got there, we had a really good senior group. They took over. But then when it's time for my group, we don't have the numbers. We're playing with a lot of underclassmen. So some people don't see that part of it. Yeah. I'm not using that as an excuse. It's still, you know, it don't matter if you go out there with all freshmen, your job is to win football games.
Well, they even say if you're going to recruit junior college players, you better hit on them, because if you don't, well, they did, but obviously
it hurts you. It can hurt you in the next couple of years too if you don't.
Right. Yeah, because you're right. I mean, never really thought about that. We were deep with JUCO.
Yeah, my first. Yeah,
and there was some good ones too. It was some good ones.
I think most of those JUCO players were so good coming out. I think most of them at least got not all of them, most of them got a shot in the pros. That's how good junior college group was.
I believe, I can't remember what year it was when they all came out. It was about 5 of them off the defense. Because I remember because I want to say it was my first year on campus. And after the bowl game or after the Senior Bowl, all of them came back on campus with a fresh whip. And it was like, I'm gonna tell you, Fred Smoot had a Benz. and it was like he was floating, and they had navigators. There was a few of them had navigators. Willie Blade had a Cadillac. He had 2 Cadillacs. See, I remember
I don't
that.
know nothing about all that now.
I remember it, dude.
We are
I'm
not
telling you,
reporting. We are
I'm
not
saying it was
reporting
after-
anything.
I say
Well,
I
after they
had
had
my
Jamaican
little stint with the NCAA now.
You letting it
Yeah.
go.
Oh yeah,
Mine
we
was,
skipped
mine
that. We
was
skipped
crazy. Mine was mine was a lot of bull crap.
Yeah, see,
So
they,
tell-
go ahead, Jeremiah. I knew that was
Uh,
one you want to touch on that.
No, well, I mean, he brought it up, so I was like, well, tell us that story then. Because I guess I had forgot all about it, honestly, but I was like, we'll just kind of get into it.
Go
No,
ahead.
it's called,
They
look,
wanna
I know
hear it.
y'all gonna bring it up. When I went to the Ole Miss, they had a Michelin man, big old Michelin man sign there. All I did was laugh when I come in there. But long story short, man, I'll tell you the honest truth, everything that happened. And I'll try to be quick. I'm at home about to go back to state for a meeting that evening. And which I was young and dumb, rotating your tires. Man, you had to remind me to do that stuff. I go to actually to a guy I know. He was an Ole Miss graduate, but I couldn't get a hold of my mom, couldn't get a hold of my dad, because when I got there, he walked out there. I was young and dumb. I didn't know to reach in the inside part of that tire and feel the inside part. It was bald. He said, Kevin, if you was my son, I wouldn't let you drive back to state. So I'm trying to call, couldn't get a hold of nobody in my family. And I get a hold of a person that's alumni, which I know the guy. He fronted the money. He said, look, I'll just pay it. He paid for the tires. I'll go back to state. That guy actually called Cheryl, told him everything. Cheryl turns the incident in. He talks to me. Well, my mom, within what, I want to say 24 hours, the credit card was credited back. It ain't like, I mean, I'm just trying to get money on the table. His credit card was credited back. I want to say it was 24 hours. Coach Cheryl ends up turning this in because every college breaks rules. There's so many, like, you can't even take a kid to go to McDonald's for $5 meal. I mean, there's so many rules. It's hard not. So every school, like Cheryl explained it to me, breaks rules every year. A lot of them just slap on the hand. Well, it's turned in. Well, Meyer, whatever his name was, I don't know if he was with an Ole Miss woman or whatever. He wanted Cheryl so bad back then that he was taking, as Cheryl told me, he was taking incidents that wasn't really, shouldn't have been big, and just blowing them up, trying to get a case on Cheryl. Well, Cheryl told me not to worry about it. I practiced, and he said, look, we're going to appeal it to the committee, and we'll have a Learjet ready to send you to Oregon. I said, all right. And he sounded confident, but I don't think he realized at that time, it rotates. You get two committee guys from a conference, and that rotates every year. Well, guess who was on that committee that had 2 people that year?
Oxford.
Oregon's conference.
Oh, Oregon.
Oh,
Their conference had 2 people on the committee. Well, that was a no-go for me. I didn't win that appeal. Well, but Cheryl did tell me this, and what sucked about it, I got suspended a game and didn't get to pick the game. And somebody in that same conference up there got caught selling a bunch of tickets, players, and they got to pick their game. Because that year we would have picked Jacksonville State.
Right.
Rather than me miss Oregon. They wouldn't even let us pick. So it was a big thing. And Coach Cheryl said, man, they wanted me so bad. And he said, don't worry. I remember him saying this to me. He said, don't worry. Before I left there, he said, don't worry, I got him. He said, Kevin, I got him. And I didn't know what he meant, but I want to say he's the first person that won against the NCAA.
it took him about 15 years.
It took him a long time, but he must have had something. Because you don't just win a court battle against the NCAA unless you got something. They don't just pay you off. So he wasn't lying to me. He had something to get him
When
off.
last time you spoke with Coach Cheryl, Coach?
I ran into him several years ago at Mississippi State. We spoke,
Okay.
ran into each other, but it's hard for me to get back. You know, I did have young kids, and we tried to make 1 or 2 games a year because my wife, with her job, had to go to one, and so we at least tried to make 1 or 2 a year. And it was tough when you got young. But now my youngest is 6 years old, so he can actually sit through a game, and I don't have to play daddy daycare.
Yeah.
Because I'm that guy. I don't even, you know, you can call me bad Mississippi State fan. Even if I go to a game, I'm the guy that wants to sit on the end, and I'm in tune into the game. I don't want to see anything else.
That's me. Are you so you talking about being at the state game? Are you a coach, a football fan, or just a Mississippi State fan? Like when you're there as Kevin Fant 20 years later, you know, you're watching the game. Are you sitting there as a coach? Or are you sitting there just as a, hey, I'm relaxing and I'm watching football?
That's all me. I try not to get into hoopla, and then, you know, I enjoy running into people that, you know, I hadn't seen in a long time. But I like the biggest thing about it, to be honest with you, I watch so much football with film for high school, and I'm so concentrated on my team that I don't try to get too involved with everything else until my season's over. But, you know, the biggest thing about going to a state game with my kids, I'll never forget, I don't remember what year it was for Dak. It was when Alabama, it was a close game all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And my son, it was the first time I'll never forget this moment because it was painful when he was a kid. I had to take him up to the end club and do all that because he didn't want to sit there. That was the first game he really sit through, and at the end he was crying. And so it really meant something. I'm like, it was a moment that I'm like, son, you can't give up. We might throw a Hail Mary or something right here. And then you should have seen his face. I mean, I'll never forget it. His face lit back up like we was fixing to win again when I told him that.
Yeah.
And we lost again, and he went back to crying. So that's the moments I love.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, my kid being a part of that, because to be honest with you, my dad wasn't into college sports or didn't play college ball, never went to college. So my kid's getting to experience that stadium. I never saw that stadium until I got recruited.
Right.
You know, so my kid's experiencing that. That's what brings joy to me.
I guess going with that, I mean, we're all Mississippi State alumni. How was that, like, when State was, like, #1 in the nation? I think that was for, 3 or 4 weeks. We were #1 with the first team. We're going to be the answer to that trivia question when they ask who was the first team #1 in the not BCS rankings, but in the playoff rankings. So how was that when Mississippi State was #1? Were you kind of walking into the coaches meeting with a little bit of a little extra pep to your step?
Yeah, especially, like, for instance, like, I don't think I've ever coached on staff that we didn't have a hardcore Alabama fan.
And I know they're annoying
that
too.
helps a little bit. And
Yeah,
man, I think everybody in the state, anybody associated with Mississippi State, walked up with their chest a little higher. That's no different than having that beautiful girl on your arm when you go to prom in high school. When you walk in there with your chest poked out, that's a good feeling.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, that was a great experience, and I was glad just to be, you know, I guess I wouldn't say I was a part of it, but be able to experience it.
Yeah, I like this being on live, guys, because, you know, we see who's jumping in and speaking. College teammate and a high school. You got a high school teammate on here, Mr. Jason Armstead, your #1 receiver, says, "What's up?"
Hey man, what's going on? That was my receiver in high school. Speed kills, man. Speed kills.
Then you got your college teammate Roberto Spavi.
Spivey.
Yeah, they're in the house tonight, man.
Was Spivey Clarksdale?
Clarksdale, yep, that's him.
There's a lot of good players come out of there too.
You got doggone right. Probably the best linebacker I've ever seen in Starkville came from Clarksdale, Mr. Mario Hagan. That was my guy.
Well,
that was my guy.
Then they moved him to DN, but we ain't gonna get into that. They ain't gonna get into
that. Joe Lee's defense at DN was pretty much a linebacker.
Well, it was like he kind of ran, what was that, 5-1-5, 3-3-5, like set or whatever. So it was kind of.
I don't know what Nick means, but there you go.
Come out of high school, and all you've seen is 4 little basic 50 fronts, and then all of a sudden you go to the scout team and see it looks like everybody's blitzing. Yeah, that was the biggest experience. Joe Lee Dunn cussing me out because I can't get a playoff, but I'm thinking in the back of my head, well, you're blitzing 10 people.
Oh, Joe Lee.
I think that was last. Go ahead, Fat.
No, I'm saying your big brother just joined us, Kevin, Nick D'Angelo. He just finally joined in.
Oh, so he missed my little story about him talking about him earlier.
Yeah.
Somebody probably text him.
We're in. Go ahead, move on to life after Mississippi State, man.
I have a question about his career.
Somebody got a question.
Well, go ahead, Derek. I'm glad you joined us, Derek. Go ahead, man.
So, like a lot of people may forget that, you know, you are one of the, you're in top 10 of a lot of our quarterback categories. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody knows Dak is our GOAT. Right behind him is Nick Fitzgerald. But you're in that category, like right there. But you're number 1 and 2. You're number 1 and 2. You're number 1 and 2 for longest pass plays in Bulldog history. Talk to us about those 2 pass plays.
Well, I'm not a big statistic guy because statistics can be, I guess, construed or however you want to say it, the way you want it to look, you know. But, you know, I got, 2 years starting in 4 games my sophomore year. And, you know, it was some struggles, but, you know, I was blessed to have some good moments, you know, some big games. And those 2 longest pass plays, I believe one of them's to Terrell Grindle and one of them was to Ray Ray. And I think the most experience,
that's correct.
The exciting one was, I want to say, to Terrell, because we was backed up inside our own, I don't know, 5 is I want to say it's 90-something yards. I can't remember what it was. But Terrell, I seen the safety, and I was like,
91 yards to Grindle and 89 to Bivens.
Well, Grindle was up the left side, and I love throwing a deep ball. I could bring the rain. Now I like to throw it high and let the rain come. Well, Grindle could run, and usually Sparky was real conservative, and he called that pass play, and I was like, hey, here we go. That's all I needed to know. I'm gonna take a chance, and the safety started cheating over, and I said, I looked at Terrell. I think he knew I was coming there. Well, he got actually forced out of bounds, and luckily the ref saw it. I wish I had the video. I wish you could see it. But because I knew the safety wasn't in there, I threw that deep ball, and like I said, I brought the rain. I brought high and deep. Terrell, the film was gorgeous that we watched on Sunday because it shows Terrell getting forced out. And as soon as I'm throwing it, I'm seeing him getting forced out of bounds, and I'm going, crap. There. Well, Terrell, all credit goes to him on that play. He runs through the sideline, comes back in the field of play, catches it 91 yards. The DB kind of gave up because he forced him out of bounds.
Thought it was over with.
Terrell, I'm talking about, looked like he ran through 10 people and came back in and catches it beautiful and runs for that. And
wow.
That was, it's funny that you bring that up. It's probably one of my most memorable plays too, because it's one of them plays when you throw it and you go, crap, I messed up. And then somebody makes you look good.
Well, I think he definitely is going to get a high rating on NCAA football. Probably got a high rating on NCAA football for route running skills. I don't know.
But yeah, that's the 89 Ray Ray. Ray Ray was a special talent. I think he had a few hamstring injuries, you know, as it went on, but he could fly. Terrell, I mean, both of them guys could really run. They were really tall guys, but you know, that's what makes the game. That's what makes the game of football so great. And I tell everybody, name another game when you can have somebody at 315 pounds playing with somebody that's 150. You know. You know, in football, you can find a place for every size, every type player. And man, it's a great game. And you take somebody like Terrell, never really had a lot of size, but he was stout, strong, and man, he could run.
That's why you said about Ray Ray though. When you talk about those hamstrings, that's what hindered him so much. But they played Ray Ray like all over the place.
Oh yeah.
He was a high school quarterback, and so they were able to put him anywhere, returning kicks, receivers, sometimes in some kind of special package of quarterback. But I always joke that I say, Ray Ray, you too quick for yourself. That's why you keep getting hurt because you too quick for yourself. Your body don't know what to do, and because he was just he was just real shifty, and it was just amazing to watch when he was healthy.
It's weird. It's weird about Ray Ray is that I remember I used to watch those Countdown to Signing Day shows, and they were real hype on his teammate. I guess the one he threw to Hargrove coming out of high school, and everybody thought he was going to be like the next Randy Moss, and he ended up being the guy that was, I guess, an impactful receiver. So that's
Antonio Hargrove, you talking about?
Yeah, Hargrove.
Yeah.
Hargrove was a track star. Really, he was a track star, but he got his opportunity to play football. He like you said, he was tall and fast.
Yeah.
And so it didn't quite pan out in football, but he got his opportunity.
Well, he can run like a deer too now. Them long legs get to going because I'll tell you a little quick story about Antonio. We was playing, Seneca Taylor was out there at corner, and I remember him from high school, great player.
Yeah, go for it.
And his knee was banged up a little bit, and Antonio was young, and I told Antonio in the huddle, I said, man, just his knees hurt, you're going to outrun him. Just don't let him get his hands on him. And this is how fast Antonio was now. Ran right straight into Seneca. I threw it so high because looked safety off, got it high. He still almost ran that ball down.
Yeah.
And man, that he could run. Because I remember we used to run them 110s, and I used to get jealous because I'm over there puffing, and he looks like he's Usain Bolt. Now, he wasn't that fast, but he looked like he's just gliding.
Right.
Jealous.
Yeah, we called him Bob in school, y'all. We called him Bob.
I remember that name, although I wasn't at state at the time.
So he got his hand on a Walmart vest, and it had Bob on the tag, and so he was Bob from his freshman year until he probably still call him Bob. I don't know. All right,
yeah, it was definitely one.
Do y'all have anything?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a two-part question, Mr. Fant. I want to know which game you felt like during your high school time. You felt like was your best game in high school, and which Egg Bowl was your favorite that you played in?
Take that question.
Favorite game in high school, man. That's tough, man.
Yeah, like your best game in high school. Which game do you feel like that was your best game?
Let's make it personal.
I guess my memory ain't that good,
Your best game that you played, not your favorite game or favorite experience, like your best game. Let's try to make it personal, Ricardo. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, your best, like I did great in this game, the best game. Kind of be selfish right now. I know you're not that kind of guy, but kind of be selfish right now. Say this best game I showed out at right here.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we wasn't spread or nothing. It wasn't like, Coach Lee switched after we played the banjo and they threw the mess out of it, a couple years after I left. But, there were several games that, I really enjoyed, but I'd have to go back to being most memorable and had a good game and had some key moments. One would have to be that senior year, South Panola, even though I get hurt that game. And I think I still had a good game. But there were several games I threw, but you're talking about good back then for Moss Point. We pounded the ball a good bit, and like I averaged 1250. Good for me was throwing for 200 and something yards, a little over 200 yards. That was great.
Yeah.
So I can't remember back that far. I'm getting older, like Kendrick said. I don't remember that good. Like Nick D'Angelo, he still remembers plays in Pee Wee football. You're gonna ask me, you remember when West Elementary played Escatawpa? No, I don't remember that. Some people got a great memory. I can't remember back that far.
Look, I'm gonna tell you,
hold on, let me finish that question. Fat, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to finish this question.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carlo.
I think it was a two-part question. Best Egg Bowl. Yeah. I don't know, the first experience, even though we lost, was great. That's probably my best experience because, that was my first, like Fat was saying earlier, that was my first big playing time as a redshirt freshman. So man, just that experience alone and being a part of it, that was my most memorable. But, you know, my best game was, I don't know, I can't remember. It was a good game against Ole Miss my sophomore year.
I think the one I remember the one I can remember vividly, and then I can let y'all go after this one, was the one where the guy we were just talking about a while ago, Ray Bisbee, when he scored that. I think he scored at the end and came back. Y'all came back and beat Ole Miss that time. I want to say that was DeCenzo's senior year, Dante's senior year, one of them. Do they click with one of y'all guys? Y'all remember that game?
Yeah, that's when we was about on the 10-yard line, and I shifted out to receivers or came out the game. I can't remember the play where Ray shifted the quarterback, and we ran like a quarterback sweep around the right side.
Wildcat, yeah.
Free Wildcat.
Yeah, and he jumped up in the air like, I was like, dang, wasn't his hamstring just hurt? He skipped up in the air, and the people on ESPN were going crazy.
Hey, Ricardo, his hamstring hurt every other day, man. Seemed like it, didn't it? But look, Kevin, you got our good friend, man, gentleman. I'm to my co-host. This guy played with Oxford Community College. Yeah, I called it that. He was a receiver over there, big time punt returner. Went on like all Canadian guy. You know, he's one of the three reasons why I ever sat and watched the whole Oxford game. Him, Jesse, and Marcus Woodson. Those are three reasons why I ever sat and watched an Ole Miss game. But Jason is running down. He said you got Hattiesburg, you got Biloxi, and you got Jeff Davis. He's trying to make you remember, Kevin.
Well, he like Nick. He remembers all that stuff now. I will say this. One of my favorite memories of Jason was I was a young quarterback, and one of them let your receiver make plays moments come out my hand, and after it comes out your hand, every quarterback's experience says it comes out your hand, you go, please God, make a great play. Well, the guy jumps up for whoever was playing and makes a interception. The guy was tall. Jason come up under him and jumped after him and ripped the ball out of his hands, and it was a touchdown. And I think I fell in love with Jason ever since. So
he was a great player and tiny. When I
tried to get him at state, but you know, Sparky Woods and a few of the offensive coaches wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, but Jason, he was a really great player, man. Really great player. So Jeremiah, you got anything before we take it on home, man?
Man, just I guess he kind of talked a lot about it, like a little bit of the coaching. Just I guess how he kind of got into that, maybe a little bit, because I mean he has been doing that the last 16 years. Maybe just how he got into coaching and just where he's at now.
Okay,
that's
a good ending point with us, Kevin. Just tell us how you got into it, and tell us a little bit about your career and what's going on with you now.
Well, I graduated in industrial technology. I said I was never going to teach and coach. And, that's one of them things where God tells you don't tell God what you're not going to do.
Right.
And, Coach Alex, I got back home and I volunteered or something, went out there for a little bit, and I realized how much I missed it, because right when I got finished, to be honest with you, those last couple of years were really rough on my body. And I explained it like this to somebody one time. It was like playing wiffle ball with your older brother. When he beats the piss out of you so many times, finally it's like, crap, I'm going inside. I'm done. After my senior year, that's the way I felt. Because I remember Jason called me one time. He was like, man, you can come up here to Canada with me. And, man, I wasn't even interested at that time. Because I was just so beat up and just over it I needed a break. And then when I went back and volunteered a little bit, and Coach Alex gave me opportunity, and I had to go the alternate route, I realized how much I missed it and loved it ever since. Mm-hmm. And I just, it's fun, not just everybody loves winning. And like Dan Marino said, the best pain pill ever invented was winning. But, seeing young kids, seeing young kids develop like that. I got a freshman was in there the other day. It's funny when you see them kids, the grit started by coaching, and you see that kid start looking in the mirror and start to see his chest poke out because he's starting to work out, and you see the confidence building in him. Man, that's what makes coaching great. Now, winning on Friday night's great, but when you look at them kids and see the work they put in, and you can look at that kid in the eye and say, I don't care what he does, he's going to be successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Is this because as a teacher, it's kind of the same way. I know there's one this year. I worked second grade, and just being able those parents come in that first day and they tell you, oh, you know, my child can't read or they can't do this, and then you see that child at the end of the year. It's kind of, I mean, it's not the same with coaching where you're talking about a guy throwing a football or doing something like this. So that is a pretty cool feeling.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, because you got some kids, and it might be the same situation you're talking about. You know, what's that I read the other day? From a Navy SEAL, calm brings on calm or something, but positivity brings on positivity. You don't know, that kid could have been hearing he can't read at home every day, and then he hears somebody like you saying, "Yeah, you can." You know, that's when I'm going in. That's what you go to a school that says, "No, you can't win there." Well, everybody in the community has been telling them that they ain't gonna win. So, and that's the best part about it. It don't matter if it's teaching, coaching and teaching the same thing. A lot of it's the psychology part of it.
Correct. And that's the odd part. Even I think, even as a teacher, I think people, they kind of look at those as two different things. Like coaching, you doing the physical aggression and all that different type of stuff. I mean, you've seen coaches be able to come in the teams and turn them around immediately. Did they magically just get more talented, or is it some like a shift? And I think sometimes people don't get that. But even with teaching, people think it's something about, you know, you coming in doing some academically, you some dope teacher who can show them all these strategies. Half the time, it's just telling them they awesome, and then some clicks. So it's the same thing. It's that coaching aspect to teaching. So, but at the same time, with coaching, there's a teaching aspect to it. So they are kind of intertwined, but I think people don't see it that way because they see coaches as these, you know, they hear them, the Buddy Stevens. They think everybody's like that. They don't realize that, you know, there's a lot of other stuff going on.
Well, and two, there's a lot of it. You know, you're talking about different coaches and there's different, like country boys say, there's a bunch of different ways to skin a deer. It ain't got to be, everybody ain't got the same style, and your style might not be the perfect style for that type kid, but there's somebody out there for him. And you get a group of young men or women, for instance, if you got a good staff, you know, like Coach Tick at Moss Point, the one thing I thought he was great at, you know, when I was offensive coordinator at Moss Point, I could go over there and just really get into a young man that I thought needed to be pushed. And Coach Tick was that grandfather figure, man, which I thought at that time was huge because he could put his arm around him and just say, look, this is what Coach Fant's trying to say. He was what I call that grandfather figure. Now, he was on up in age because he coached me too.
Right.
He couldn't do the things he used to could. But,
he used to be.
But that's part of having a really good staff and having, you know, a good staff in the high school, having a bunch of different style teachers that all have the same goal. And, you know, Moss Point was blessed, you know, when I played there to have a great staff, and they all fed off each other. And that's why I think you see, like I said, school districts and schools like you teach at is no different than a football team and what we said earlier. There's a lot of moving parts. And, man, you need to get all the moving parts moving in the same direction, and then you got to, man, it's hard to stop that.
I think you said something that was incredibly impactful with that. I mean, that's some one of our, I guess our other co-hosts is not on tonight. He has a previous engagement, but he's a teacher as well, and that's something we always talk about. Is that's kind of the tough part, because me and him both are kind of different styles of teachers, and that's sometimes the tough part with teaching. Like, people get focused on one style of teaching or one style of this, and then you don't realize, like, it don't matter as long as the job get done. It don't matter what it look like. So, and that's even with coaching, I think obviously football has kind of evolved. You know, I think we always talk about with say Lamar Jackson. You know, for years they say a guy like Lamar Jackson, you can't win with a guy like that. He's a running back playing quarterback, whatever. And then finally someone just said, like, hey, we're gonna roll with this, and then you done changed the game. So
yeah, I mean, you're right. And I just like, it's kind of like, I don't teach a regular classroom. I used to, but, you know, teaching PE now, you know, I teach a special needs group that comes in second block, man. And man, that's my favorite class. And they help me become a better teacher, because the thing about it is, it's kind of like I see as a preacher. You ain't going to reach everybody in that auditorium or wherever you're preaching from. It don't matter if you're preaching from a gym, a church, or whatever. But if you can win one soul, man, you've helped the kingdom. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So if you can win two in that classroom that was going the wrong direction with their life or with their education or whatever it may be, heck, maybe you can't make him a student. Man, that guy's gonna be a great welder, and guess what? You're gonna make him a better man. And that's the way you make this world better. The best way I can make this world better, I guess the number one way I make this world better, is my 3 kids. I can't, me and you can sit here and talk all day long, and it's gonna be hard for you, a grown man, me to change your, what you think hardcore.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, the way I make this world better is my 3 kids.
Yeah.
Because I got a direct impact on them every day. Now, the second part is being a teacher, because I see them a lot too now.
Absolutely.
So that's why teachers and coaches are, I guess, a great part of the community. They can change the world, change the community, just like, being a father or being a mother. And I don't know. You gotta stop me. I'll get off on a rabbit trail and I'll start talking now.
Oh, that just got good for a second though, Kevin. That just got good for a second.
It's interesting you say that though, because oddly enough, one of the guys on the show, Guy Ricardo, his uncle was my one of my 7th grade teachers. Now he was just an elective teacher, but I still remember I told him how his uncle broke up a fight between me and one of my friends way back when we were in 8th grade. I remember he football tackled him into a pole or whatever to keep us from fighting. As I look back on it, it's kind of weird that oddly enough we had a PE teacher, black male, and then obviously his uncle was a black male. And then I think about, I never was much of a troublemaker. I did pretty good in school, but then as I look back on it, it kind of clicked. I was like, oh, okay, I see what they were doing. Because I would do stuff in PE, and the PE teacher would overlook it, would never write me up, and then him breaking up a fight between me and my friend. Matter of fact, I talked to him last night. We still good friends to this day after that. And I think about, like, what if they didn't have my back then? Because I did do well in school, but what if we had gotten this fight and became a big thing? You kind of think about this stuff. So just that little thing can make a difference.
Well, I mean, yeah, change of mentality too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kev, we appreciate you coming on. We're gonna go around the horn and get everybody's last words. And then
hold on, before you end it now, I gotta say something.
Oh Lord.
Uh-oh.
All right, now listen to this. Now, I don't know if everybody on here, Jeremiah and the rest of the crew, know.
You could call me out about something.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy when you talking about baseball earlier that I get on the bus for the first time, and some crazy guy in the back with tight baseball pants and a big old booty sit back there dancing and singing Susie Q in every song that Coach played. Now the man can sing if y'all ever got him to sing on him.
We went to the same church for a little bit before I moved here to Texas, so
Okay,
I know he can go.
The man, we didn't never had, we could be coming from Meridian or South Panola on a bus, and the dang sapsucker sing the whole way home. Everybody trying to sleep, he's back there singing.
Oh, you that guy.
I can't even sleep because he's back there singing.
I have a question, and this is about the current Mississippi State squad. I mean, we were kind of smash mouth team as far as when you played. Now we're moving to the air raid with a quarterback coach and head coach that's known for throwing the ball 40 to 50 times. Do you think you would have succeeded in that offense? And what do you think about this culture change from a smash mouth to a throwing the ball possibly 40, 50 times a game?
Well, first of all, the first question, I'm going to pick at you. I don't even know you. That was a silly question. You must not know, man. I don't care what we playing. You go pick up a tennis ball or badminton. I'm fit and try to whip your butt at it, and I believe that. I tell my players all the time, if it's a ball, I'll whip your butt at it. Well, I got that belief. So I don't care what we're running. I believe I can be successful in it. That's just, I don't know, that was the mentality I was raised with. My mom was hardcore country woman. She didn't put up with nothing, and that's the way she raised me. And luckily, I went to school in Moss Point with a lot of coaches that instilled that in me too. So I don't care what I'm playing. I got a bad back, and I'm pushing 40 years old. And Shaquille O'Neal shows up my door. Don't think I'm gonna try to beat him. So that's just my mentality. That was a dumb question. I'd be successful in it. And I'm not trying to knock your question. That's just my mentality. But the second question was let's repeat the second question so I don't mess it up.
About the culture change from, Mississippi State is not really known for being a passing team.
That's an understatement.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. Like, it's just like when I remember I was at Moss Point coaching and Mullen came in recruiting. The thing is, there's a lot of great talent there. And at least the positive note, you're coming after a coach that, would throw it some. Now, you come, like Dan Mullen had it a little harder the first year or so. Mm-hmm. You coming after Kroom that was a ground and pound, guy.
3 yards of
and then you sitting there like Dan Mullen come in recruiting, and he was just, making his rounds, and he said, man, I got to go recruit a bunch of receivers because you coming in like air raid now, and you coming from a ground and pound, you got personnel that you got to change. You got a fullback person, you're going to have to move him to linebacker. You ain't using a fullback or an H-back. So the biggest thing is checking your personnel, because, the first couple years could be rough. You don't get your personnel together. But the good thing about that is he's not coming from a Kroom or a Jackie Sherrill type offense. So that makes it a little bit easier.
Right.
So I think I wish him well, and I just you got to give the man a chance, and it's just like anything else, Anybody gives you a chance, don't throw the man to the wolves the first couple of years. Give him a chance to let it come in, but that's the way the SEC is. It's kind of like Aretha Franklin. What have you done for me lately? I don't care what you did before. It's what you're doing now, and that's the way college football's got. You can win a national. They don't let it fool you. Let Nick Saban will lose 4 games next year and see what happens.
Right.
People were saying it.
They want to throw him on a tree and get him out of there. I should have. They want to get him out of there, and that's the way football is.
Look at Gene Chizik. Gene Chizik is an announcer now. He won that championship. What was that? 2010. He's an announcer now. So I hate it's like that, but that's when you get paid that much money. That's the way it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think he has a chance to be successful. I think right now he's got too much time on his hands. What I'm surprised at really with like coaches and mainly players with so much time on their hand. I know they in the weight room are trying to work out on their own. I'm surprised you ain't got a lot of young 18, 19-year-olds just like we was, young and dumb, just getting into some trouble with social media. Because I couldn't imagine, man. You imagine we had this right here. I was 18, 19 years old like that. I mean.
Well, I would say this. I'd be rich by now if we did. Because you already know me. You know me.
For people that don't know, Cat's pretty humble on his show, but he's pretty legendary at Mississippi State. He was bullied, and he's even known as one of the most famous Greeks to ever come to Mississippi State. I heard about him before I even met him.
Wow.
He doesn't know that, though.
Yeah. That is humbling.
Hey, Fat.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I mean, look here. My wife done you must be live. She's in the other room. She done text me. Tell me I'm right. What have you done for me lately? Is that Aretha Franklin? Who was that? She done text me that was Janet Jackson. I don't know who she's talking about.
Aretha Franklin probably mad right now.
What have you done for me lately? Yeah, Janet Jackson.
Was it Aretha Franklin?
No, Janet Jackson made a song, What Have You Done For Me Lately?
But before that, we ain't talking about remakes. We talking about original.
I'm not sure. Kier, I'm not sure.
Let's Google.
Okay, we're gonna Google before we get out of here. We're gonna set
she on here. She on here janking on me, texting, janking on me. I don't think she knows what she's talking about.
Hey, she watching the show though. Look, she let you know she's watching the show.
Lately.
Okay, see, Jeremiah Short is looking it up. And while he's looking it up, let me ask you something, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you have any plans, with your personnel, what you're gonna be doing this year with Van Cleve? Like on offense?
Well, I will say this. If we wouldn't have been 7 points short, we should have beat Pass Christian and took district championship away from you.
Look, we spoke before that game. I just knew you had it, though. I knew y'all had it. We spoke before that game, and I was like, good luck, dude. Go get him, man.
Man, what is that? Y'all ain't kicked the field goal that far all year long, and then that kid come up, kick a field goal, win this championship.
But look, listen. You said kick the field goal that far. We had kicked the field goal. But what it was, everybody, Kevin gave us our only loss in district last year. We ended up being district champs. We beat, so that was, I guess that year was passed, and we were like tied up with seconds left on the clock. And we struggled all year on extra points. Forget a field goal. We struggled all year on extra points. And so myself and another defensive coach, we're on the other end, and we turn around, we say, what are they doing? What field goal? I mean, this is us. Like, I would say this. I mean, we talked about this after the game. We was like, field goal? Man, we just gonna give up, huh? Just field goal. And then when he kicked it, and it was like the perfect kick. I don't know if you've seen a video of it, Kevin. It was a perfect kick. But what it was, coach, our head coach, this is all about coaching, though. You got to get in the kid's mind. He said, man, because he was our kickoff guy, and he would put that thing in the corner like he's supposed to. You know, he did kickoff, right? He'd say he pulled him to the side. He'd say, dude, go do a kickoff. Don't worry about kicking the field goal or nothing. Just kick off. And so he was like, yes, sir. And he went there, put his head down, and did a kickoff, and he kicked that joker straight down the middle of the uprights, and we could district champ.
Did he have a square toe on?
Nope.
Are you kidding me? Because Moss Point, look, Jay Alexander had so many square toe shoes back there, it was ridiculous.
We got about 6 of them, but he couldn't fit in.
I remember people used to pick at us because Francisco would run a 70-yard touchdown, then we had to throw the shoe out there.
Yep. So we but I've been trying all year because that guy's coming back. He's gonna be a senior this year, and I'm still like, dude, can we go ahead and order this size 12 square toe so we can so we won't have this problem anymore. Jeremiah, what you come up with, man, so we can get out of here?
Oh no, that's it, man. It's been fun having you on, and
dude, we talking about the song.
We talking about Aretha Franklin.
Jackson.
Oh, I'm a little ADHD, so I'm not CTE, but I'm a little ADHD. It was a Janet Jackson song. Yes.
Man, look,
I forget stuff.
I'm looking that
too,
back
man.
up because I ain't going in the other room with my wife, wrong.
Well, go ahead. Let's get, while he's looking that up, everybody go ahead and throw your closing remarks out there. Let's get on out of here. Go ahead, Jeremiah Short.
I guess I'll start, man. It's just been fun kind of being able to connect the dots. We've had Omar, now we have Kevin Fant. Got to get a few more guys. It's always good kind of getting an eye from, former Bulldog. That's why we call it from the dog's mouth. And, getting that viewpoint from like that quarterback's eye of, these different eras in Mississippi State football.
Ricardo, get off mute, man. Come talk to us and say goodbye for us.
Well, I'm glad that we had this podcast today. It's probably, if during my high school time, probably the most touted quarterback in Mississippi State. I mean, not Mississippi State, but in the state of Mississippi that I could think of outside of Romaro Miller. I'm just glad that we had this time.
Talk good about Rebels on this podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot. From that, well, I ain't gonna say his name. I'll say Robert Kent or something. He went to Jack State. But yeah, I'm glad that we had this chance to link up with a Mississippi State, in my eyes, Mississippi State legend. Not just a state of Mississippi, for throughout the whole state of Mississippi high school football legend. But I'm just glad we got a chance to touch bases today and find out what he's doing now.
All right. Derek.
Well, I just want to thank Kevin Fant for coming on today. And hopefully when football season starts, man, and we have some football to talk about, you'll come back and give us some, inside eye on what you think about the team's performance. Definitely like to have you back to talk football with us in the future.
I definitely want to be back on a Saturday, especially if we win against Moss Point.
That's fine. Most definitely.
I won't be on.
I heard they got to get their defense together this year. That's all I heard.
Oh, okay.
Waka. Hey, listen. He Columbus ain't won a game, so I'm not worried nothing about what he's saying. No, Caledonia. Ain't no better.
I'm gonna say Columbus. I didn't go to Columbus.
Well, Caledonia, no better. Kevin, any last words for us, man, and the Bulldog family that's watching?
Well, first of all, y'all too nice to me because I sure wasn't that good. You know, a lot of people made me look good, and I appreciate them. But thank you. And I was told Fat earlier, earlier in the week, I really don't like interviews that much, but I love Fat. We had a long relationship, from a long way back, and I didn't really know how it was gonna be, but I mean, really laid back, and y'all do a good job, and I appreciate y'all. I guess making me feel comfortable.
Thank
Well,
you, man. Thank you,
I'm
man.
gonna say this to you, man, before we let you go.
Go ahead, Derek.
You don't get to be where you are in the record books without being a good player. You know what I'm saying? And no, we didn't win a whole lot, but man, you in the record books. Can't no one take that away from you. You are, like I said, the question I asked you, 2 longest passes in Mississippi State history, you're top 10, you're in the top 5, top 4 of several quarterback stats for Mississippi State
Thank you.
quarterbacks. Can't no one take that away from you. You are, and like Ricardo said, you are a legend, man.
Exactly. You better than Nick Fitzgerald to me, man.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, that does not start with that. Please don't go with that.
But man, look,
Matter of fact, he
look,
better than
who
you.
said that? Because I might take him out to eat. I'm gonna treat him lunch.
Hey, no doubt, brother. I've said that on many podcasts during the season while he was there. I used to post in the group. I was like, man, did Kevin Fant have any more eligibility left? Oh my goodness! I said he would have took this. We would at least won 10-11 games with you at quarterback besides him.
Well, got that man started on the
All
man.
that working on him, take dinner from Kevin Fant.
Hey, we listen, guys. Let's say this. We about to do a whole nother podcast. Let's say this.
Fitzgerald watching right now. Like I gotta get that guy.
Yeah, let's say this. We're gonna get Nick Fitzgerald on too. But let's say, that's gonna be terrible. Let's save this. Let's go on to say this for another time. Kevin will be back, I hope. Because it was fun, Kevin. You see what we do here, laid back, man. And we thank you, love you too, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, guys, we go back to my 10th grade year, his 9th grade year, all the way back to baseball. And ever since then, it never fell off. Even when we were both at Mississippi State, head wasn't too big. I was still his boy. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate him through the years. Shouts out to our guy Nick D'Angelo. He was right there with. He's one of the guys that's been with me and him the whole time too. I gotta give my boy a shout out. I did. So just I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody on the podcast. Once again, we want to tell everybody to follow us on Black Dawg Sports Podcast on Facebook, and also Black Dawg Sports Podcast on YouTube. Like us, subscribe, follow us. Hey, even if you just watch for Kevin and don't want to watch nothing else, just subscribe anyway. Get them numbers up, guys. All right. So we want to thank y'all. Love y'all. I'm not AJ with the peace outs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna say deuces. Derek, take us out.